This is Marketing of Today. I'm Cesar. Let's go! Welcome to the Marketing of Today podcast, Aziz. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Did I say the name right?
Aziz, yes.
Aziz. You're an inspector. Your name of the company is Keen Home Inspections.
Keen Eye Home Inspections.
Where did that name came from?
I was in the military, and in the military, you got to pay attention to detail. So
Okay.
I had to have a keen eye for everything.
And when were you in the military?
06 to 2012.
Well, thank you for your service. And I'm guessing you were in that time that everything was a little...
Oh, yeah, it was real wartime.
It was real wartime. So thank you very much for your service, and God bless you're here. You know, everything went well. And I understand that you went to college during the military as well?
Before the military, I attended King University very shortly, and then I joined the military.
Okay. And then in the military, you got trained for some careers? What happened during that time? Besides, of course.
In the military, I was 88 Mike, which is combat and logistics,
Okay.
a truck driver, basically.
Okay.
So before I was a home inspector, I was also a bus driver for New Jersey Transit. I used to actually drive by this office every day.
Wait. So that was before? So you were talking about 2020? 2020. 2002?
Actually, no, it wasn't before. I'm mistaking my time. I'm old, man. I'm old. So I joined the military basically like not fresh out of high school, but fresh out of giving up on the old college try.
Okay.
In 2006. And then I went away for training, and then when I came home, I signed up for New Jersey Transit.
Okay.
Got the job. I was on leave at the time, and then I went right back to the military.
So how long did you work for the bus route that actually stopped here every day?
I worked for New Jersey Transit 11 years.
11 years. Oh wow! Because when you went back to the military, they just hold
They got to give you a military hold.
Okay.
So I basically got the job, and it was like, all right, you can start Monday. And I said, no, I'm leaving Monday. And they were pissed, and then I just left.
Oh, wow. Interesting. And by the way, you actually lived here at that time, right? Up the block.
No, not at that time. But I was born in Passaic, and I used to live directly around the corner.
It's crazy how it comes full circle, and years later, you're here doing a podcast.
Right around the corner and drove by here every day.
Exactly. Lived and drove by the office. Interesting. Yo, people, that's interesting. For years he's been passing through here, and like, look what it takes for you to come in and actually come to us and like now do a podcast with me. Thank you, by the way.
No problem.
Yeah. So like, talk to me about that experience of and like how long when you were in the military, you went to study something. What did you study there? Because I know that military gives you the opportunity to go to college, right?
Yeah. So I did 6 years, and I did 6 years because there's something called the GI Bill. They give you a GI Bill, which basically they pay you to go to school.
Okay.
So at that time, I did my 6 years. It was a time award. They was giving out money just to sign a piece of paper. I got like a $20,000 signing bonus. I was young. I was basically fresh out of high school.
So 18, 19?
Yeah, like 19.
How old are you now? Sorry?
36.
Oh, wow. 36. Okay. So that was about 16 years ago.
Yeah, give or take. I wish I was actually in this field. I would have invested that money way better, because at that time I was young, and $20,000 is not really a lot of money, but back then it was a lot of money.
Yes,
it was a lot of money, and
I mean $100 was a lot of money back then.
It was a lot of money, and I thought I was rich with $20,000, and then and on top of that, I was going to school, and they were paying me to go to school. I was probably getting paid like $2,000 a month just to be in school. So you
had crazy money in your bank account.
Exactly, and back then that's more than people mortgages back then. Back
then, of course. I mean, remember a PSP. I remember. Let's bring it to something childish, right? Was like $250.
Yeah.
Like an iPod was like $300.
Yeah, and now they're going for like $1,000. So
look at the difference. Today that would be what, $60,000 in today's money?
Yeah,
probably around $60,000. Yeah,
making money at a young age.
So and then from there, like you went to school. Where did you graduated from school?
Well, after the military, I was working for New Jersey Transit, and then we had Chris Christie as the governor. And the only reason why I was working for New Jersey Transit because at the end you get a pension.
Okay.
But then Chris Christie was talking about privatizing it and taking away the pension. So then I went to school for HVAC. Then I went to school for electric systems. Then I went to school for plumbing. And I just did these things to prepare for it. If he took away the pension, there was no need for me to be a bus driver no more. I was going to go into one of those fields.
Yeah, because if the incentive was the pension.
That for me, yes.
Okay.
So I studied all that, and then during that process, at that time, I bought my first home.
Oh wow!
I bought my first home. It was a 2-family home.
Well, how old were you at that time?
Shit, I don't know.
Well, how long ago was it? You're 36 now, so let's do some quick math.
At that time, I was probably 28.
Oh wow! So that's 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Congrats, man! Because at 28 years old, not a lot of people buy their first home.
Yes. I was 28. I was buying my first home. It was a multi-family home. I had to hire a home inspector. A home inspector at that time charged me $600. During my home inspection, his phone just kept ringing and ringing and ringing, and he asked me, "Do I mind him picking up the phone?" I'm like, "No, It seems like an emergency." Now, it was an emergency for that person. It was a realtor. The realtor was on the other line. I could hear her loud. "Excuse me, I really, really need you. Sorry for calling you so much, but I have an emergency. The inspector just canceled, and we need to get this inspection done ASAP."
You saw the need.
Yeah. So she said, and she was like, "My client it doesn't matter. I need you to do this today. Name your price."
You're like,
He said $800. So I paid him $6. It took him 2 hours to do my inspection.
That's $300 an hour.
Coincidentally, it was his inspection that she was calling for was the next town over.
Oh wow! So he was close by.
He was very close by. And he charged $800 for a single family. It was an emergency, and she said name the price, so he just named his price.
$400 an hour for that one.
I did the math, and I'm like,
he just made. Let's do the math. 6, 6, 12, 14.
14.
1,400 in 4 hours.
Exactly. So I'm like, how do you become a home inspector?
I'm gonna do that right now.
How do you become because I already went to school for half that stuff. So I'm like, how do you become a home inspector?
Yeah.
And he gave me the school. He gave me everything. He was actually my mentor and all. And he gave me all the information, and eventually I became a home inspector.
So does it take for anybody out there, because we're learning from a home inspector himself, like what does it take to become a home inspector?
Every state has different requirements. In the state of New Jersey, lovely New Jersey, everything's difficult. So in the state of New Jersey, you got to do 80 class hours. You have to do 40 hours in a field with 40 inspections. I'm sorry. With a licensed home inspector. No,
and that's a lot.
40 hours. It's 40 hours.
40 hours?
40 hours with a licensed
Still,
home
it's
inspector.
a lot, because that means if your inspection takes you 2 hours, that means you had to do 20 inspections.
Yeah, and then you also have to pass the national exam. And to do your 40 field hours, most home inspectors charge you $30 an hour just to shadow them.
Oh, they charge you?
They charge you $30
so they're making,
an hour.
So wait, you're telling me they're making, let's just say 300. Let's not say 400, because that was a special occasion.
Let's say 500. They're making $500 on their job already.
Okay,
Their
500.
job, and their job is going to take them 2 hours.
So that's $250 an hour.
And
plus $330 that you're paying, that's $280.
And they just charged you $30 an hour.
I thought it was going to be free, because you're there.
You would think so. Well, it depends on the home inspector. Some
okay, so you were paying $30 to be able to shadow them and get the hours in.
No, luckily I wasn't.
Oh yeah,
I didn't, because I used my home inspector, so he was my mentor. I had to get him affiliated with the school I went to. It's a little piece of paper you fill out, and he did.
And you were able to do it with him.
Yeah, he let me to do it with him for free. But the people on the list, like I try to call them, even our instructor as a home inspector, he was charging $100 for one inspection.
Wow.
So yeah, home inspectors can make money hand over fist just having someone shadow you.
So do you think that's because they know how much money is made in the industry, especially in the up market that we were in not that long ago? Right now, everybody was buying houses left and right. So do you need a lot of home inspectors that can name their price?
Yeah, everyone was taking advantage. Just like it's a seller's market now. Sellers are taking advantage because I be inspecting houses that to me isn't worth anything, and people are paying like $500,000 for it.
Yeah, because you're seeing what's going on inside. But let me ask you a question. So you started home inspecting, you said, how long ago? After your house? So it'll be 6 years?
No. I'm only in
3.
Going on 3 years. I'm going on 3 years. So I was in like the height of the pandemic.
Why you started during the pandemic? Is there a specific reason?
I just got tired of driving the bus. That was it.
And you were like, okay, so let's go to the next adventure, and
I
it was home
tired of driving the
inspecting.
bus.
So, did you buying your property or your multifamily 8 years back help you with your home inspection? Like, you know what to look for as a homeowner? Has that helped you figure out like what's in, like, you know, what's good and what's
It
bad?
has, because it lets you know about the excuse me, about the hidden things in a house, especially with the roof. Everyone thinks the outside of the roof is the most important. It's not. It's just close.
It's the structure of the roof.
It's actually in the attic. That's the most important, because your outside of your roof could look perfectly fine. And like, I've seen it. Like, I had this problem from my own home.
Okay.
Not a shingle was missing. None of them was weathered, but they were still a leak. So the most important part about the roof is not really the outside, in my opinion. It's in the attic, what you see underneath the hood.
You can save someone a lot of money by catching that. So you've been able to help people save a lot of money catching problems like that. And give me another example, like, you know, for example, water heaters. Everybody talks about water heaters. What do you see that happens to a lot of houses with the water heaters?
Water heaters go. People don't know that you don't really have to replace a whole hot water heater. There's something in the water heater. It's a rod. It's called a Newell rod. If you look at the top of your water heater, it's like a little top, a little circle. You can unscrew that and take it out. It's this rod that catches all the minerals from the water that keeps the water heater going. If you just replace that rod every 6 months, that water heater could last you decades.
So it's because those minerals are the ones that are staying in the inside of the water heater, ruining it, and that's why you got to buy it every 10 years otherwise. But if you replace that rod,
yes,
you can have it for decades?
You can if you maintain your hot water heater, if you replace that rod, you can have the hot water heater for decades, because the rod it starts to deteriorate. You just have to replace it.
Wow. See, and why don't people know this? Like, it's bad for the industry, you know? What do you think about tankless water heaters? I'm just saying.
Tankless water heaters, they're cool. They're good. They're efficient.
Okay.
It's like instant hot water, but I feel like in my opinion, they don't get as hot as a tank hot water heater.
Really?
That's how I feel.
Do you feel like that's because of the temperature set, or because it's only getting warm when the water's passing?
It's the constant flow. It's only going to get but so hot with water constantly passing
instead of being water stored that is getting hot.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because you'll have 40 gallons of hot water at 250 degrees, but then you have no water in this tankless water heater. You just have water passing through these heating plates, and it heats the water. But if you're taking a long shower, it's not going to be as hot.
Do you think that in the winter, when it's really cold, the water is not going to be as hot? Or do you have to readjust the unit itself to try to make it a little hotter?
No, that's all about insulation. It's everything, whether it's winter or summer, is how the pipes are insulated.
But what if the pipes are in the basement, and, you know, the insulation in the basement is just the foundation?
Then you should insulate your pipes.
Oh, because they might get frozen.
You should insulate your pipes. That keeps the constant temperature of the water, insulating your pipes.
Oh, wow. So it's like putting some regular insulation on it, like you will put in the rest of the house.
The tubing insulation. You never, like in older homes, you ever opened up a closet of an older home, and then you have these copper pipes running through the closet to the second floor?
Yeah.
Those pipes should be insulated. But if the heat is on, or if the hot water is on, the pipe is hot and you could burn yourself.
Yeah.
If you insulate the pipe, they'll keep the temperature.
Oh, wow. See, people, you learn every day. I didn't know that. I didn't know that it will be good to insulate even the newer pipes as well. The ones, because now it's,
you talking about the plastic
red ones.
Yeah, it's they're red and blue on their it's PEX piping.
Yeah. What? How are those qualities of those ones? They're good.
They're very efficient. It's fine. They're good with the temperature. They're kind of insulated themselves because it's thick plastic.
Very thick. Yeah.
No one really insulate them. You can. As an extra precaution, but it is not needed. But those pipes are easy because it's simple plug and play, because it's not really pipes, it's tubes. You cut, you put a little tie on it, you're good to go.
Yeah, that's what I've seen, because, you know, I work with a lot of investors that have new construction. So
all new construction are using
constructions, they're using that, and they're now using the tankless water heaters. They're also using now AC units with forced air instead of the what's it called? The radiators, or the ones that are going on the floor. Which ones are those? Yeah,
baseboard.
The baseboard ones.
Baseboard.
So now they're using the forced air ones. So it's like, plus the insulation they're putting
now,
more efficient.
The problem is with forced air with new construction, they're putting forced air in. They put forced air in. I'm sorry, I just had a brain fart.
When they put in
central, they using central air, forced air, right? That's dry heat. They're putting the forced air systems in there, but they're not putting humidifiers in there as well. Humidifiers keep your. You ever stayed at a hotel and you have the heat bumping and it's real hot and you wake up with a dry throat? Mm-hmm. That's because it's dry heat. There's no humidity in the air.
Okay.
So if you slap a humidifier on there to put moisture in the air, everything's good. So
could you do that in the house? So for example,
of course.
If the system doesn't have it, just buy a humidifier and put it in the house so it can help it.
Or you could get one of them room humidifiers from Home Goods and put it in there. But investors that do that, they don't put the humidifier on the system, which will be better for the occupants. But if you're gonna have forced air, you should have a humidifier. And
the importance of that is just so the air is not dry and it's more moist.
Correct.
And do you feel like, based on your experience, that forced air is better than radiant heat?
No, I'm not a fan of forced air.
Yeah.
No.
Even in a new property with new insulation, new sheetrock, new everything.
No, I'm not a fan of the forced air. The reason why is because once you turn off the air system, it gets cold instantly. The temperature changes instantly. But if it's radiant heat or baseboard, those baseboards stay warm for a while.
So they maintain the temperature more.
Exactly.
Then because since the air is not circling,
it's just
that's why it's staying cold.
It'll be a temperature change.
So do you think it's more expensive to have forced air than radiant heat?
No, it's more convenient. That's why you're seeing in new construction, you're seeing more central air systems because it's just easier to do and it's more convenient.
It's easier to put the pipe than running pipes and then running all these radiators with a whole bunch of water all over the house.
Correct.
Or steam in that case.
Correct.
Okay. So, see, I didn't know that because I just moved into a new construction, by the way. So I'm actually learning with you here. I moved to a brand new apartment that was built by one of my friends. And it's like, I like that everything is new. I like the AC. But someone told me like a week ago I went to a training like a week ago. And in that training, they were saying that I will never do forced air. I will do radiant heat because this maintains the apartment more hot. Tenants are happier. And then I can get more rental income because the tenants are happier and I get a switch around. And I was like, it's interesting because now I'm going to experience my first winter with forced air. I have always had radiators. So I'm like, you're the second one.
You'll see once you cut off the air, you'll see how the temperature changes dramatically once you cut it off. Like it's almost instant for me. The best for me, in my opinion, the best heating system is radiators. Okay. The big radiators that everybody that take up space
in the windows. Yeah,
take up space. You get radiator covers now, but those cast iron radiators, once you heat them, and you turn off the system, they hold the heat for hours. So you're wasting less energy and you're saving money because once you heat it up, they'll keep the room warm.
That's also a very good point that you're bringing up because if you think about it, let's say that a blackout happens, you're screwed with forced air.
Yeah. Well, you screwed regardless. You still need power to run the.
But if the radiant heater was hot,
you'll have more time.
You have more time. In this one, you got to go to the car, turn that car on, and turn on that heat.
You experienced blackouts before.
I remember in Dominican. So in Dominican Republic, when it was a winter, but over there we don't use. But it was the opposite. It was too hot, so you couldn't even turn the fans. So when the electric went out, luckily that happened once, and then my dad was like, "No, we're not doing this again." We bought I don't know how to say it in English.
Generator?
No, power inverter. The one that you have car batteries, and then hose power, and then it's like the vans.
Kind of like solar panels.
Not solar panels because this gets charged with the grid. So when there's light, it charges the batteries.
Okay.
And when the light goes away, you have like a box that all the wires connected to that. You switch it. They're automatic now, but back then, you switch it to that power, and then the house you can not refrigerators.
Something like a generator. Okay.
Something like a generator, and then later on in life, we actually bought one of those big industrial generators, and we were able to power the entire house. But but like I experienced blackouts, and I wasn't here back in the 2000s when the blackouts happened in New York, but it was in the middle of the summer. I wouldn't want to live in a winter like in Texas.
That was due to, you're talking about Texas when the pipes started bursting and all, busting and everything, because they weren't prepared for it, because Texas is mostly always warm.
Mm-hmm.
That was due to insulation, though.
But what about the electrical grid? Went out.
It did.
So it's like, I know that it's hard for that to happen here because we have so much years in histories of that. But the other day I got shocked that power went out in this office for like 5 minutes, and I was like,
"You thought you were above it? Like, what are we doing? We're in Jersey. What's going on?"
I thought I left DR. What happened? And what's shocking? I even called the people from the office. I'm like, "Yo, you guys pay the bill?" Because it was like, and then I saw that PSC&G was working on the light pole. 5 minutes later, power came back. But for me, you're so used to having electric and so used to having power and heat and all this that it will be an anomaly the day that it doesn't happen. I did go to DR once, and the light went out. I went for like 3 days to visit my parents. The light went out. I'm like, Mom, that's still happening.
When you came here,
so my story is the following, right? I came here back in 2004.
Okay.
From 2004 to 2010, I came with my entire family. My parents were living in Florida. We were living in Florida. Once that work visa that my dad had expired, well, before it expired, we decided to leave again because my parents did not want to overstay their welcome. Then after that, I used to come every year on my travel visa. Till one day, 2018, I came and I just stayed. I got married, and now we are good citizens of the United States of America.
Okay.
But I graduated high school and middle school here, so it was really hard to get accustomed to the DR culture when I was already accustomed to living here.
Yeah.
I was ready for this system, not that system. There's a lot of different stuff. Yeah, it's not culturally, it's not the same. You know what I mean? Like you can find a job anywhere getting paid minimum wage, but that's a decent income. Versus in DR, minimum wage is minimum wage. I used to work in a call center because of my English. I only make $500 a month.
That's crazy.
And I used to make $600 or $700. I had to do like crazily 80 hours a week.
But isn't it a different cost of living? So if you were making $500 a month,
it's getting more expensive by the day, bro. Because the thing is that it's becoming an end state. I don't want to say the whole world because this is in YouTube, right?
Okay.
So since it's becoming that, like the luxuries of life are becoming more expensive. Things like food, like right now you're spending, supposedly $7,000, right? It's like the house pantry, Dominican money that's like $150, right? That's supposed to be bullshit. You're spending $400, like to fit your family in a poor medium basis, not rich, not medium, but like regular. So rent is $15. It's like you're paying for rent $300. So it's like you need to be together with someone. And it's not, if not, you're living in the hood. Like it's like it's becoming too expensive for anybody who makes 25,000 pesos, which is the $500.
Mm-hmm.
You only be able to buy food and pay rent.
That's crazy. I love DR. I've been there like 5 times.
Beautiful to go from here, bro.
I've been there like 5 times.
But you see, the reason you love it is because everything's cheap. On dollars to pesos. But the other day, when we went to a restaurant, couple beers, a little appetizer, a little like a little food. I spent $100. American.
For how many people?
4.
That's not bad.
But it's American. How is someone in DR going to a restaurant spending $100?
Isn't there like I know when you go to a country and they know you're not a native no more, they just run it up so they get like a you're not from around here tax. Because when I was in Jamaica, and they know I'm American, what was I buying? I think I was buying a water and a toothbrush, and it was like it was like $10. And then my Jamaican friend came in. And they started talking what they was talking, and then next thing you know, I'm paying $1.
Yeah, well, there you can get some of that, right, in certain places, but in a restaurant, you're looking at the menu, you know? The menu has the prices and everything. Plus,
Some menus don't have the price, and they don't have that price for that reason.
Plus, I have a Dominican father, bro. He will not let that go. I was trying to give a $5 tip, and he said that's too much. So for $100, I was trying to give a $5 tip. He was like, that's too much. I said first 10. He was like, no. 5. He said, no. Give him $2.50 because for him, it's like the next time we come here, then they're gonna be expecting for us to give him the same amount. So he was like, I don't want to have to be
I don't
liable.
want him to remember my face.
I don't want exactly.
Or you're gonna have to cash app dad. remember that tip you left?
Now you gotta cash at me real quick. I gotta pay this tip. But yeah, but like it's different for me. I feel like it's different in the sense of like everything's more expensive than back when I used to live in DR before I came the first time. So 2004 with 50 pesos, bro, you'll buy a tostada, which is like a ham, cheese, bread with your Rica juice. I think you know Rica, right? The orange juice. 50 pesos. The other day, the tostada was like 40 and the juice was 60, $100 Dominican pesos, which is $2. So it's like everything already doubled, and I can only see, and I see it coming up more and more and more.
That's cost of living everywhere. It's cost of living everywhere.
I've been seeing that here too. Yeah, after COVID, things got a little crazy.
No, it didn't get a little crazy. It got a lot crazy.
But do you think that we make more money now, or do you feel like it's at least here? Do you feel like it created more business opportunities?
It did. There's always opportunity in chaos. And COVID was chaotic, so there's always opportunity in chaos.
All this started because of COVID, so
yeah. My business been doing well since COVID, because of COVID. But everything's just crazy.
I have to ask you this because if not, my audience is gonna kill me. We are today on the 26th of September, right? I think I have the right date.
26.
So we're in the 26th of September. People are scared with the real estate world. Are you scared with the real estate world?
As a home inspector, I used to work for New Jersey Transit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a good driver, and I stay in my lane. And my clients do ask me on, would I buy the home, or do I think the home is worth this price? And I am not a realtor nor an appraiser. I just inspect. So the way the market is right now, I just stay in my lane, and everything is the same to me, whether it's up or down.
Okay.
Now, as a homeowner and a property owner, it's regulated. There's nothing to worry about because the prices are coming down some. Interest rates are going up.
To control the pricing.
Interest rates are going up, but interest rates are not high. They're just going up. They were at an all-time low. They're just starting to regulate again.
So that's what I see. Like, the only media that moves people is bad media. So if we were here talking about, I'm scared now because the interest rate went up, and that means nobody's going to buy houses. That means I'm not going to inspect homes. It's like, no. There's still properties that are going to be sold.
Exactly.
There's still people who are going to buy.
Exactly.
It's my job to make sure that I'm the guy they call, right? As a business owner, because you're a business owner of your inspections, and you have the right relationships in place to be able to go inspect those properties. But people love to hear in the news, if you were able to buy a property at $300,000 and you pay this much, now you're not going to be able. At that time, you were able to buy one with $600,000.
And that goes back to the conversation we was just having on a different time.
Mm-hmm.
Like it'd be people that like I bought my house 10 years ago at half that price.
Exactly.
But that was 10 years ago. It was a different cost of living. It was a different circumstance.
Imagine 10 years from now.
And at 10 years ago, his interest rate was probably 12% anyway.
It was higher, yeah.
So it's like this. You're at the end of it, at the end of your 30-year mortgage, you basically was paying the same thing anyway.
Exactly. So it's like, the thing is that people miss opportunities waiting for the better opportunity. So they're saying, back then I was able to do this. It's probably going to go back to that. And everybody's expecting that. And the only people who benefit from a down market is the investors. people who have cash, capital, money.
Yes.
The people who have a job, they don't qualify the same. I get it, cool, but you also need to set up your finances and be ready for anything at any time. And if you're paying rent somewhere else for $2,000, which is right now to how much I'm paying less because I have connections, but
Of course you do.
that rent where I live right now will be $2,400 easy.
That's more than my mortgage.
You see?
And I have a.
And you have 2 units, right?
No. Well, yes, but I'm talking about my single family.
Oh, you have a single family.
Yes, I have more than one.
So wait, you
so
have 2 properties.
yes.
Oh, congratulations!
So for my
see?
single family, my mortgage is like $22 a month.
Imagine that.
$22.05. And
So you're paying for an apartment, 3-bedroom apartment.
when I hear people say how much they pay in rent, I just go, oh my God, that's crazy. Because that's literally my mortgage for a whole home, 2-car
Entire
garage,
house.
4 bedrooms,
With a backyard.
3 bathrooms with a backyard and a long driveway. And you live in a 2-bedroom apartment with 1.5 bathrooms, and you're paying my mortgage.
Exactly. And not only that, he's paying the mortgage for somebody else too, because if they would have bought a multifamily, they can qualify for it a lot easier. It's just people, and I'm saying this because of someone I know, right? They all want the best. People don't settle and understand that life is a project. And if you can qualify for something and maybe not qualify for something else, buy a multifamily first, live in one of the units, prepare yourself financially, and then buy your single house, which is what you did.
Exactly. And it took an older person. It was actually one of my sergeants in the Army. They told me your first home always has to be a multifamily because you need somebody to help you pay that mortgage.
Yep.
And then after you're more established and everything's good, then you go for your single family.
And the reason for that is that way you can hold that property down easier because you're going to get some cash flow from your property because you're moving out of that apartment, you're renting in that apartment. That house is being paid by itself by those 2 units.
Correct.
You get some cash flow. You're still working. You're still producing. You can pay your new mortgage. And like you said.
And you have emergency money because it baffles me when people buy their first home and it's a single family and they're already on a budget. I can see if you already have it, but you're already on a budget because when you have a multifamily home, like you said, you're still working, you have some cash flow, you have some capital, you have savings. You're going through savings. So if a hot water heater goes,
boom,
you have money. You have another income.
Yep.
The heating system goes, you have money, you have another income.
Imagine buying a one family, you don't.
Exactly. You don't. And then there's other bills that people
tend to forget about.
I've never, and this is crazy, I never known this. I never knew there was a sewer bill until I became a homeowner.
Yeah, the town sends you a bill. Isn't it once a year?
When I seen for me, I got it 2 years later.
Oh, wow.
I got it 2 years later. So when it came in the mail and it said sewer, I was confused. Like I knew nothing about it. So I'm like, what do they play? What's a sewage bill? Like, why?
Okay, who's playing this game?
I'm like, you can't even cut off my toilet. Like, I can use it all the time. I don't have to pay this bill. Like, it's not like you can cut off my toilet. And then my wife was like, oh yeah, my parents get that bill. I'm like, yo, this is a real bill. I have to pay to use the bathroom. Crazy.
Yep. But those are things you find out as a homeowner that you didn't know before.
Exactly.
Also, the taxes that you pay to the town. There's a lot of things depending on the town you move into. Taxes are higher just because of the school system or everybody who lives around there. There's certain towns here in Jersey that sometimes is a rent. The taxes of, like, for example, Montclair. The taxes in Montclair are like $17,000 a year.
I know. It's high. Bergen County by itself. Bergen County is the second highest in the country for property tax. The country, not the state. The country.
And the reason for that is because they are trying to limit who can afford living in that area for the school systems, for everything else. And it's understandable. Like, I don't.
Then you got to deal with town ordinance. Like,
exactly. And they don't F around.
No, they don't. Like, they don't have to, like, if you don't have your grass cut or your yard neat in a certain way,
a ticket.
They just write you the ticket and put it in your mailbox. They don't even knock on your door or nothing.
And I like, hey, and I saw that because I saw a house that was abandoned. One of those houses that that the city that someone lived in there. They stopped paying their mortgage. The
And
bank
just
took
let
it
it go.
over, and then
And
someone
they still was getting ticketed.
hold on. Someone moves in because and then they gotta evict them. So remember, this person was living in this house because I work with what's it called? Those realtors that are REO realtors, the ones that kick people out, and also they put the property in the market for the bank. I don't know if you ever heard of that. I learned that day, bro. We were
What are they
filming a
called?
video. REO, I believe.
REO.
Realtors.
Okay.
So
I'm about to research that.
yeah, so this guy, right, the property was taken away from the owner. Someone had moved into the property illegally. They saw it abandoned. They moved in.
Uh-huh.
Squatter, yeah, exactly. I was looking for the word. And after they moved into the property, you can't kick them out. They were there for more than 14 days.
Yeah, it's crazy laws.
So now you have to evict them. They went through the eviction process. During the eviction process, the person didn't clean. The person, the whole house was trashed. There was trash all over the yard. And it wasn't one of those towns. The amount of tickets that were in the mailbox was like mind-blowing to me.
And it's crazy because it could be a lien on the property, not the owner or the person that owned it. It's a lien on a property for something crazy like that.
Yep. So they had to, basically the bank had to take care of the tickets because they were trying to negotiate with the town. Like, yo, it was a squatter. We had to evict them, And they were like, no, you guys didn't, you should have cut the grass. So they had to pay all the tickets. It was crazy. I was like, wow.
Wait, but did they have to pay the tickets just to evict them?
No, they
just had to
the
pay
whole
the
process
tickets.
because
Okay.
remember, you got to now change the title from the previous owner. All that process.
It was a lien. It was a lien.
So
just
now
for
you gotta
not
clear
cutting
all
the
that
grass.
up.
That's crazy. For just not cutting the grass. Just like you get a lien on a property for not paying your sewer bill. 2 years went by
Or
and never knew that
taxes.
was a real bill.
How about people that don't know about the taxes? If you don't pay your taxes, the town is allowed to sell those tax bills to someone.
And I think
Someone told me that too.
Yeah, if they pay your taxes like 6 consecutive times, they now own the property.
They don't own the property. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
and,
you can steal some
and you
property.
can exactly. I heard someone say, "Oh, I bought a property for $5,000." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Look, I bought this thing. It starts recurring interest. If they pay it, they give me my interest plus my capital. They're good. They stay with their property.
Yeah.
But if they don't pay it,
Yeah.
I'm the owner of X, Y, and Z address." And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so there's a lot of different ways in this real estate world to make money.
And I'm here ready to inspect.
So yeah, so thank you very much for being on here. Like, let them know if they need any inspections. Well, how can you can help them, where they can contact you and all that stuff.
Keen Eye Home Inspections. You can find me on Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook.
What about TikTok? Yo, TikTok.
TikTok, yes. My daughter runs my TikTok. KeenEyeInspector.nj. That's KeenEyeInspector.nj. I do basically North and Central Jersey, Bergen County, Morris County, Somerset County, Middlesex County, Sussex County, Essex County, Union County, Hudson County. I'm everywhere basically. I'm everywhere.
That's good. That's good.